Well, Michael, a few days on from that win down at Blackburn, I'm guessing there's been a pretty good feeling around the place since.
Yeah, it was a good night. I think performance-wise was pretty good. Still think there's more to come from us, but it was good, and it's good that we can feel it after a good win and still be kind of hoping and striving for more. So yeah, it was a good result. It's one result, and we've kind of looked at it and put it in the past, and all eyes on moving forward now.
That Tommy Conway goal's had a lot of attention since, likened to that famous Dennis Bergkamp goal. Some finish that, wasn't it?
It was. Listen, there's no getting away from it. It was a fantastic goal. I like the move. I like the build up to it as well, and the link play, and then but the bit of brilliance from Tommy on the end of it was. The first bit was good. It's not an easy finish either, and to control it and to finish like he did off his left foot, I have to say it was a fantastic goal.
Now, if I had £1 for every time I'd asked you about momentum this season, I'd be a pretty rich man, but...
both ways.
Yeah. Does it feel like something's building? Now, I know you're not wanting to get ahead of yourself, but 5 wins in the last 7, it's improved massively since that spell of defeats. Can you feel that momentum building a little bit at the minute?
Well, it certainly has done. I mean, that doesn't mean that we can take for granted that it carries on, but definitely there's the feeling, and you can see the boys playing with the confidence. And I mean, they've always had that. I've spoken to you enough about it, about the belief, and the spirit's always been fantastic, to be honest. But there's a bit of a spring, there's a bit of a bounce, which you hope for at this time of the year. When you get a sense of, and you're trying to kind of get towards something and achieve something, then what we wanted always be in with a fighting chance, and we've got that, and the boys are feeling good about it. So, but it's all about what's next. It's a tough game tomorrow night. We've got to be ready for that. It's a whole new challenge, but at least we're going into it in a really good place. If
there was a negative to come out of Friday, it was probably the knock to Neto Borges. How's he doing?
Yeah, we're kind of still looking at it, but it was. I don't know if you've seen it back, but it wasn't a nice kind of situation really. Kind of knocked off balance and landed, and it looked like a really bad twist. We're hoping that it's not that bad, but we're still looking at it. So unfortunate really. Neto, he's been fantastic for us. So to have that setback and have to come off the pitch, but we'll see how he is really, and see how we can recover from it. But yeah, it was a blow to lose him.
With that in mind, how's the centre-half situation looking? Because I know you were hoping that Dale and George wouldn't be too far away in contention.
Yeah, Dale's trained, so he's back in the group, which is good. Hasn't had an awful lot of training, but he's done a lot of rehab, so he hasn't been around the group too much. But because of the game, with it being Friday, and obviously training with the boys the way they've trained, he's been back training today, which is good, so he's back involved. And
given Johnny Howson's performance as a centre-half, do you have a bit of a decision to make then?
There's always decisions to make. I think a lot easier when the boys are playing well, and yeah, I mean there was a decision to make for Friday, and we made that, and Johnny's just kind of naturally settled into that position, and the age he's at, and the stage of your career in terms of using experience, and he's been fantastic at that, and his presence, his presence in that kind of bit of fire that he's got in him and rubs off on others, and he's been a great example over the last couple of weeks.
And just one final one on injuries. I know Ben Doak was a bit more long term. How's he getting on? Have you had any update on him? Because I think going back to Liverpool.
Yeah, he's back at Liverpool, so he's just continuing his rehab at the moment. So not really much update on that one.
So on Leeds, it's always a big night or a big day when the Borough face Leeds. What have you made of them of late with their slight struggles?
Yeah, I mean it's similar to ourselves in many ways. As the league, it's a difficult league, and you can have results, and it can come and doesn't necessarily mean there's an awful lot wrong. I think it's fine margins at times, and sometimes you can kind of go against the grain, and that's how it is. I'm not taking it with anything. We're fully expecting their best version. We know what they're capable of. We've played against them enough over the last couple of seasons to know that they've accumulated enough points over 2 seasons. A credible amount of points over 2 seasons to know that what they are about, and so we'll expect that. We'll be ready for that.
And with that run, there's a lot of anxiety around with their fans, as you'd imagine, given what happened last season and then eventually losing the playoff final. Is that something you can play on?
Not really for us. It's our focus is really always about us. What's going on? I had a similar question about going into Friday night with Blackburn and what that would be like, and it's not something we focus on. I think of course we concentrate on trying to get ahead in the game, put ourselves in a good position in the game to give us our best opportunity of trying to win the game. But any of that stuff, that's not for us. We need to focus on ourselves.
And a night match at the Riverside always seems to have a special feel. How much you look forward to it? Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to. I'm looking forward to hopefully the boys playing well, and going into the game with a good chance. And they're a good team. It's a good game. It's got all the ingredients for it to be a good game of football. And obviously there's a lot at stake for both teams, and we've both got our own agendas, and the supporters will be up for it. And it's all round. It makes for a really good night. It's one obviously we're trying to win, come out on top of, and that's the challenge.
And we've seen the kind of connection build over the recent run as well, of the boys really drinking in those celebrations you saw on Friday at Blackburn. Can you use that emotion, or is it very much business, focus and stay calm?
Nah, listen, the game's based on emotion and the passion of winning, and you've got to use that. That's the beauty of it, It's why we all love the game, because it drives you mad at times, but it's the feeling of trying to get hold of something and achieve something, and so you've got to use that. It's very different for supporters and to be in the stadium and that passion and the boys to play with a passion and emotion, but to be able to control it, to be able to then perform, and it's getting that fine balance. But there's certainly a sweet spot there where everything needs to come together, and that's what we've got to find, and you've got to play with that fire, and you've got to play with that energy and that real intensity and drive to win. It's a massive part of football, but there's obviously roles to play, and you've got to think clearly, and that's the bits of the ingredients you've got to put together, which I enjoy finding, as I just said, finding that right spot.
And just finally, with that in mind, with the atmosphere and everything else, I know it's definitely not a derby, but it's definitely a game that Borough fans look out for at the start of the season. Do you have a message for them ahead of the visit of Leeds?
Nah, to be honest, to be there with your voices and supports like you have done. I think we've had some really good days and nights over the last few weeks where we've been able to enjoy and good results and nice moments. It's going to take a big effort from everyone tomorrow night to pull together to get the result that we want.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Cheers. Hi, Michael. First off, you obviously got off to a very quick start against Blackburn on Friday. How much are you looking to replicate that tomorrow night?
Oh yeah, well, every game you take that, wouldn't you? I mean, it's a pretty obvious thing to say. If you can be 2-0 up so quickly, every team in the land would snap your hand off. It doesn't always happen, but I think every team leaves the changing room to have a fast start, a quick start. Sometimes it goes to plan, sometimes it doesn't. It didn't quite do that the week before, and we managed to find a way and come back from it. So it gives you an opportunity. Yeah, of course, it's home and an occasion like it is in terms of where we are and what we're trying to get to. A good start would be important if we can get it.
And not to put you on the spot too much, but a lot of people have said that you deserve a huge amount of credit for the turnaround to this point. What do you think of that? Would you agree with them?
I've not kicked the ball, to be honest with you. So I think the boys have shown a lot of character, a lot of spirit, a lot of belief in themselves, and we've got a really good group. I love working with the boys. We got a good dynamic between all of us, and I said to you, I was genuine. I didn't think we were too far away when the results weren't going our way. And I still think there's things we can improve on and get better at, but it's a good place to be coming from. So I think the boys deserve a lot of credit, but there's not much patting on the back going on just yet because we haven't really achieved anything just yet.
But do you feel, despite that you are the team with the momentum going into the run?
We can look at the results over the last few weeks and say we've had good results. Yeah, of course we can, but that doesn't guarantee anything. And we spoke about it's one game at a time. It's next game. It totally is, because we need all our energy and focus on the right thing and what we can affect. There's positives you can take from it because you're feeling good. The confidence is there. The boys are in a good rhythm, and that's something we can use, but it doesn't just necessarily mean everything's going to be fine, you know. And but it's a good place to come from. It's a good place to start from, and a game like we've got tomorrow night, it's one we look forward to.
Is it more of a challenge at this point in the season to keep grounded and to stay just looking one game at a time, and also not to focus too much on what the other teams around you are doing as well?
Yeah, I've certainly. I'm never one for kind of looking around it. I've said that over the last week. It's sometimes, listen, it's pretty obvious. It's in your face. You can't get away. But it's how much focus you put in, how much energy, and how much you're looking, and how much time you spend on others. It's for me, it's getting the most out of us. It's always been my way. What I need to do individually. What do we need to say to the players? How do we do it? What message are we giving? And certainly for the players, I think it's a great position to be in. You know, when you're trying to achieve something, and I've said that for some time. It's a real privileged position to be in, and it's something that you got to thrive on and really kind of take on board and use that buzz and that feeling to drive you on.
And finally from me, Leeds have drawn their last two, you've won your last two. Does it feel like there's maybe a bit of an opportunity there potentially?
Honestly, it doesn't really change, you know. I think what we can take from is as I've just said, I don't want to really repeat what I've just said, but in terms of the games, I think what we've gained really in terms of the team, a bit consistent and not too many changes, and as a squad in a strong place, and a real good feel-good factor. Boys making a difference when they're coming off and finishing the games, coming off the bench to finish the games, and I think that's us really. In terms of Leeds, what they've gone through, we're preparing, easier for me to say, is for their best version. They've got top players for this division, and we know it'll be a big challenge for us, but it's a great challenge, you know, and we'll back ourselves, and we're going into the game looking forward to it and trying to win.
Brilliant, thanks very much.
Just on Ben, Michael, is there any indication at this stage as to when he might be back or when he might?
No, not really. No, not to say anything to kind of anyone to jump on. I think we'll give him time and see how he gets on.
I know he's obviously had his treatment in Liverpool. Has he been back to? I don't know how it works. Not to see the lads, but like to catch up with yourself, or is it that contact?
No, not really. He's heads on getting fit and doing all that really. So we've in terms of that time and schedule, we've not interrupted that. But yeah, he's doing all right.
After Bristol City, after that game, I think you dropped to 13th in the league, and you'd lost 5 on the bounce. And at that stage, you know, being in the position you were now would have seemed unlikely. Did you do or say anything different? Was there a moment after that? Did anything change after that game before the upturn in form?
I was going into Stoke, wasn't it? Honestly, not massively. Not massively. I think probably not the answer you wanted, but no, not massively. If anything, we just we doubled down, went strong, and doing what we're good at, boys. And you can get caught up in all sorts of different things, and it can cloud your judgment at times, really. And keeping perspective on things, knowing how close we were and what was possible. And yeah, I think the Stoke game we played particularly well and had a good result and looked like a really good version of what we wanted to look like, and carried on since then.
And I guess when you said on Friday night that you'd had a word with the lads at full time and said just kind of enjoy this moment, the scenes of Bristol City at full time are the opposite to that, aren't they? And having been through that, and the scenes with you consoling Neto and what have you, makes scenes like Friday even more enjoyable. Yeah,
but it's like we say about what the emotion and the passion, you know. I think you've got to have that because it works both ways, and that means if you do win or you get an important win or you achieve something, then you've got to go. If everything was win, that the high in the end, if you get it, hopefully we're trying to get it. It's not as high, you know. It's just another little step, but sometimes you've got to go through and understand what it takes and how important and what the effort and everything that goes into it. That's part of the journey. That's part of the struggle and part of the ultimately it's part of the journey, you know, and that's why it makes it so difficult to come out the other side. But yeah, the Bristol game, as we all stand out, feels a while ago, but it wasn't that long ago, and I think that if anything, used that disappointment to kind of for fuel to kind of ignite where we've got to now.
Obviously Leeds have had a bit of a blip the last few weeks. When you've been watching them, have you seen anything different from them in the last couple of weeks to maybe what was a month or 2 months ago?
No, not really. I think it's, as I've said it, and it's very similar to ourselves. It doesn't take an awful lot, It doesn't take an awful lot. The Luton game, I think, is a tough place to go. We found that last week, and it's very different the way the game goes when you go there, especially at this time of year. So, as I said, I'm not looking too much into that. I think we know what they're capable of. We've had good games against them. They'll be thinking the same against us, and kind of trying to do similar things that have worked for them in other games. So that's just where we are. I'm not looking at the past form and over the last few weeks to take much from, to be honest.
And just ask you about Sam. He seems a really good fit, or he has been a really good fit at that left back role over the last few weeks.
Yeah, Sam's done really well. He's settled. He's settled. You can see that in terms of the league, the type of football. Us here and still young, and a change of country and everything that goes with it. You can see the qualities that he's got, and he's settled into the position really well. And obviously the goal is a good moment for him. But the Oxford game was particularly kind of impactful for him as well. And I'm sure he can carry that on.
It's credit to his character, because when you come in middle of the season, he'd been playing Champions League football in the first half of the season. He came to a team that was out of form. He wasn't playing initially. That's a test, isn't it? Especially for a young player.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point, and something we can all look and just assume that he's a footballer. This is how he should perform. Or he's a footballer. This is what he should get out the other side. But it doesn't always come like that, and it doesn't mean that you're not trying, doesn't mean you don't care, it doesn't mean anything like that. It's just sometimes, for whatever reason, it takes a little bit of time, and this is not just on Sam. I think it's just on everyone, and credit to it for his attitude. He's desperate to learn, desperate for help, to when he wants to be better, and he's played 3-4 different positions for us and not batted an eyelid. And like you say, he's come from the week before coming to us, he was playing Champions League football, but you can see, and I think being like that, in the end, you kind of you find a way of getting there, because he's doing everything he can, and his attitude's absolutely spot on. He's an absolute pleasure to work with and help and develop. So he's got a right chance of having a good career.
And on the flip side, Ryan has had to be patient since he came back in January. How's he dealing with? Yeah,
right. Ryan's really good, actually. He's trained fantastically well. He's obviously desperate to play. He's chomping at the bit to play, but he's in a really good place. He looks sharp. As I said, he's trained well. He's been great around the place, supporting the boys, desperate for everyone to do well, and he's going to have a big part to play. The squad's massive at this time of year. Of who ends up playing, who ends up having certain moments, both ends of the pitch, that have a big impact going forward, and this is when all the boys are ready, and whether it's to start or to finish, for me it's just important.
Yeah, thank you.
Deal's been talking recently, Michael, about the togetherness in the dressing room, and obviously I think we're seeing that on the pitch, and the way they're battling together and things like that recently, but more so off the pitch as well, and away from the football. Deal was talking about things like pool tournaments and darts in the dressing room, coffee club that's recently started with them. I mean, are you seeing that and seeing the benefits of that, more importantly, as well?
No, I'm definitely seeing it. I think it's great to see. It's again going back to how much the feeling of the whole thing is. It's saying football, and these are the tactics, and this is what you want to do, boys. But it's more than that, and you got to feed off that, and you kind of got to have a connection. I got to connect with the players with each other, and all of us with the club and the support. It's kind of, you've got to have a little bit more than just the kind of bog standard kind of details, if you like, which are important, and I drive them mad about that enough. But to see the boys getting on naturally, and it's not something that you can fake, or you can kind of just create from nowhere. It's got to come from them as well, and so seeing that, and how much they kind of look after each other, how much they get on, the energy, and the kind of the way they train, and everything that goes with it. It's for me in my position to see that and have a team of players underneath me that are like that gives me a really good feeling.
Yeah. You often hear it, don't you, that like successful teams need that kind of bond, that spirit, that togetherness. And obviously you were part of many successful teams. Does that ring true for you as well, that needing that to be successful?
Yeah, and if anything, actually, when you talk about the successful, or you look back at success and the times that you had, it's the changing room, it's the group of players, it's your mates, it's about people, you know, and it's always about people and what you're getting out of kind of life, really, if you like. And the boys are thriving off it at the moment, you know, and at the end they all help each other, starting or finish or whatever that may be. But it goes a long way, and it gives you a lot of help, because there's going to be ups and downs. You know, I said that sometimes we might be up, sometimes we might be down over the next few weeks, and we're going to manage that. And the boys are doing great at that at the moment.
Yeah, you spoke a bit about momentum earlier, and the fact that it's, you know, certainly not taking it for granted that you're in good form. Aside from the obvious of just keep winning, is there anything you can do, you know, in between games and things like that, that does, you know, give you the best possible opportunity of carrying on momentum?
I don't think there's an exact science to it, or there's one thing that you can totally say do that and then everything will be fine. I think it's a balancing act, really, of keeping eyes in line, really making sure the focus is there, getting the balance with enjoying it, enjoy training, but again not over enjoying it and where it becomes too fun, if you like. And there's a right balance both ways, and it's a constant one every day, to be honest, of what's right and going into the next game in the right frame of mind. But I think feeding off where we are, the whole situation, feeding off it, looking forward to it, thriving off and get excited by it, and then understand that there's a lot of hard work that needs to be done to get where we want to be.
Just finally from me, Morgan came off the bench again on Friday night and did well. I know you referenced how well he did after the Oxford game. I mean, is that encouraging to see, given that he's another who maybe hasn't had quite the impact he would have hoped for early on in his career?
Yeah, he's going to have big moments for us, Morgan. He's he's a fantastic talent. He's got great natural kind of attributes to the game, and the way he plays different positions, and he's going to be so important for us, starting games, finishing games, whatever it is, as well as the other front players. But he's got a natural gift for that, and I'm sure he'll have big moments. He's done it over the last like you say, over the last week or so in different ways, not necessarily having to score, but just having an impact, and that's the type of player that he is.
Yeah, and I know obviously while they're here, every player is part of it and important here, but obviously with Morgan being a permanent signing in January, there's kind of longer term implications to that as well.
Yeah, no, definitely, and it's not always about this week, next week, or it's he's, as I said, we brought him here because we were a big fan of his, and I really enjoy working with him. He's a fantastically talented footballer, and as I said, he'll have big moments for us, I'm sure.